Hot button issue, immigration. You were at the march in Portland last Saturday. The families belong together. You urged Oregonians to stand up against President Trump's immigration policies. Which of those policies concerns you the most?
Well, the one I'm really zeroed in on, because the Finance Committee has extensive jurisdiction over child welfare policies, is this question of the children and separating the kids from the parents, because I think independent physicians tell us that that would take a tremendous toll on a child's development. So I asked the health chief, what are you doing to try to make sure that the parents know where their kids are? And the health chief, you can see all this on YouTube, said, well, the parents are going to have portals, and the parents are going to have all of these technologies, keystrokes, and the like. And finally I said, these people are completely disconnected from reality. These parents are in cells. They don't have computers. They don't have phones. And so, as the ranking Democrat on the Senate Finance Committee, I am going to be riding herd on the health department until they bring these families together.
And the Trump administration has now said they don't think they can meet the deadline that the judge has set to reunite these families and children within the next 30 days.
Well, they're of course scrambling. They're completely unprepared for this. They were asking for resumes. I think this idea of DNA testing on the children, which they have just announced in the last day, also is very troubling about the prospect of tracking one of these youngsters throughout their life.
You and Senator Merkley, Governor Brown, Congresswoman Bonamici were turned away on Thursday, I believe, touring the Office of Refugee Resettlement at a facility in Portland where they have some of the children. We were allowed to tour it a couple of weeks ago, the media was, and we have some video of that. We weren't allowed to see the kids, but we were able to see here in this video the facility. What happened when you went there to tour the facility?
We actually were turned away from the get-go, and I think part of what this administration is trying to do is say, oh, all these congressional visits, when we just try to get some accountability and some transparency, are somehow taking them, away from their job. When we did go to Sheridan, our congressional delegation, the first person I saw was a man who said his 18-month-old daughter had been taken from him and he didn't know where she was. I just think America and Oregon are better than that.
And there are about 123 detainees there at the Sheridan prison right here in Oregon. I've received a number of Facebook posts, Senator, tweets, some good old-fashioned letters from some of our viewers encouraging me to push back on our elected leaders on this issue. They say we are a nation of laws, that people should not be allowed to cross the border illegally. They think our elected officials should be supporting legal immigration. They don't think that thousands of people should be able to come across the border unchecked. How do you respond to people that we're hearing from that feel that they support President Trump and he says he's trying to keep America safe with this immigration policy?
Well, first of all, I'd like a bipartisan immigration bill, but you saw just a couple of days ago that the president said nothing doing. Let's just put it off until after the election. I don't think surrendering the responsibilities of a federal official is the way to go. Personally, the Senate passed something I voted for, which was largely the product of George W. Bush and the late Ted Kennedy. We'd have technology on the border. We'd enforce the laws on the books. We would say for the more than 10 million people who are here without documents that you pay a fine, you broke the law. If you haven't broken any other laws and you've mastered English, you'd have a path to citizenship. Something along those lines got more than 60 votes in the Senate. The president won't have any part of it.
What do you do about all the thousands of people crossing the border, though, looking for asylum? There apparently aren't enough resources to keep up with all of the people coming across. How do you think that situation should be handled?
Obviously, you need a sensible policy, but under the Obama administration, for example, they took a child from their parents only in very rare cases, only where you had exceptional circumstances. You had a very different role for ICE. And what I can tell you about ICE this week, startling development, 19 of the ICE agents, crackerjack agents, said that the flawed immigration policy was actually taking ICE away from the more serious national security concerns.